great that we've had a very diverse panel of speakers who's assembled with us here today, and it'll be really interesting to see how they view these challenges. What are some of the key challenges they're dealing with? How are they coping up as an organization and as an industry to handle these? And what do they think of the road to recovery? Radhika, over to you for your initial remarks, please.
Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Joy. Thanks, Jitesh. I think some really interesting perspectives from all of you there. Um, to me, Gaurav, the primary thing is that organization performance has always been the core for any organization. And in these unprecedented times, I would say that organizations are figuring out new ways to adapt and ensure business continuity to be able to deliver results. Now, the need to change, I would say, is non-negotiable right now. We've been talking about it for many, many years of this whole resistance to change or bringing in large-scale transformations. I would say this is just non-negotiable. And fortunately or unfortunately, everyone realizes this, whether it is leadership, the employees themselves, the customers, or for that matter, the shareholders. Everybody is realizing this need, and what they are now working towards is there is a greater acceptance to alternative ways of doing business, alternative ways of just staying connected and ensuring that there is business delivery. So I would say the world, so to say, has come together not just to deal with the situation, but also have the eye on the end result and make sure that there is business continuity to get to the end goal.
But let's go to a stable, long-standing standing organization of Radhika, and what she has seen, pretty much in making sure that business continued as usual, and remote working and all these new realities that sunk in. Radhika, your take on how you guys managed it, and how you see it going from here.
Thank you, Gaurav. I think it was music to the ears when you said long-standing organization. Yes, I would say it. I am fortunate enough to be working with an organization which is more than 127 years old and is in the healthcare sector. What better time to be working in an organization like that than now?
So, rare and lucky combination. So good luck there. Let's hear more from you on that.
Yes, knock on the wood there, Gaurav. Yes. So in terms of business continuity, I'll just start with a small example. So what happened was we started remotely working sometime in the first week of March. We realized this the situation will get a lot worse. And by then we had made offers to close to about 80 odd associates already, candidates already. And one of the questions one of my leaders asked when we were in this lead team meeting that we will start going and working from home now, he asked, and how about those people who are supposed to join us? And my response was, okay, and how about them? So he said, how will they onboard us? So I said, we will do a virtual onboarding because business will continue as usual. And then his response was, do we have something called as virtual onboarding? And then I said, well, we don't, but we will make one. And that was in March first week, Gaurav. And as we speak today, we have all of those 80 associates successfully virtually onboarded into the organization.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So I think whatever in terms of business continuity, this was just one of the examples, and more from a performance standpoint, I would say there were a lot of projects that had been key projects that had been lined up, and it was really important that all of these associates joined us right in time to be able to contribute to those projects and ensure, I would say, continuity even in terms of what is expected of our R&D organization here to deliver. So all that we were doing, I would say physically when we were in office and meeting face to face, we brought all of that at home, and we continue to do that while we are all remotely in different parts of the city. So before the lockdown, some of our associates even decided to go to their hometowns, but none of that seems to have really impacted the outcome per se, or what was really expected to be done. And going back to the point, Gaurav, I mean, we are in an R&D industry, so thankfully for us, it was a simpler challenge that people could continue to work from home with all the IT infrastructure, and we made certain arrangements for them to have all of that infrastructure at home. I'm sure a lot of other organizations which are more sales driven and require a lot of customer connect, there were, I would say, higher challenges. But again, everybody's talking about understanding and figuring out alternative ways to reach out to the customers. And I was speaking to one of my employees from the commercial organization of BD, where we do all the sales of our medical devices. And she mentioned that even the customers are being very, very open to virtual meetings over Teams and understand about medical devices, about the instruments, and they are just being very open about having an understanding of the products before going for the sales. So just there, Gaurav.
Employee safety psychologically and ensuring that they are 100% sure that they are going in a safe zone. And I think the kind of responsibility it puts back on us as HR practitioners, that it's going to be very difficult uh, if there is a viral infection which sort of spreads within the organization. And we've seen so many organizations who open shop, and there are hundreds of people who've been infected uh, while being at the premises. So it's absolutely sensitive right now, and how we manage this entire piece. What's your messaging around bringing in psychological safety, and what are the magic words to tell someone beyond the app and beyond the tech, of ensuring that people are declaring that they are safe, etc. But it has to be something beyond that possibly. And what could be that something beyond that is what I'm aiming to get from you.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. My views are slightly different. I would say the only theme that I have here is what is the tone from the top coming up. And because all the employees really pay a lot of heed to what's really being told to us at this moment of crisis, at this point in time. With due respect to a lot of organizations where remote working is not possible, for us, I think globally the tone from the top has been that employee safety is the biggest concern for all of us, is the biggest priority for all of us. And our global CEO has gone ahead and told all associates that till the time you feel comfortable coming to work, you can go ahead and continue to work from home. So to me, I mean, that is a big, big step. And again, second, depending on the health of the organization, if the organization is in a good, sustainable state at the moment, then communicating that message back to the employees and stating that you are in safe hands at the moment and we'll take it one day at a time. I think both these things will definitely add to a lot of psychological safety, because the biggest worry right now to for each one of us is not just this pandemic, but also the effects that it would have on each one of us, on our jobs, on our roles, etc., etc. So, I mean, what is the tone coming from the top and how is it really impacting each one of us will really determine the safety aspect.
Radhika, you have any views on upskilling? You've been a learning professional.
Yes, Gaurav. And in my mind, I was thinking, I still believe that a lot of upskilling happens on the job. And I would say it is, again, going back to what Joy had said, onus on the associates themselves also to have that inquisitiveness and that desire to learn more, and therefore take that onus and go ahead and probably ask for, let's say, cross-functional assignments or those opportunities for them to be able to build on those skills rather than just rely on tools from the organization or platforms for upskilling.